Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99.
This is the 49 Faithful UK show. Conference championships are done, and the NFL has coughed up an abomination. It's Chiefs and it's Eagles. Ugh. We're going to have to talk about those games, but we've got some Niners news, coaching news to talk about, and we'll probably find some other nonsense to talk about and get on to the zeitgeist and the topics of the day, basically complaining about refereeing decisions. There we go. It's got to be done. I'm Gareth Ellis, and I'm joined by Lee New Specs Gowland.
Well, thank you for noticing, Gareth.
You're very welcome. Paul Hope.
Robert Salah's back, baby. Yes.
And Najee Karar.
Hello, everyone.
How are we feeling? No Super Bowl to look forward to? Conference championships isn't right without the Niners. It's not.
It's really not. It's not.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I think both the Commanders and the Bills kind of let us down a little bit. I think everybody was unified in wanting both those in the Super Bowl. But having said that, I actually think it might be quite an exciting game to watch between the Chiefs and the Eagles. Even though we don't want either team to win, I think the quality of football is probably going to be better. Yeah. And with any luck, the quality of the refereeing will be better.
Yeah, there's
straight
no
in.
chance of that. No chance of that.
Straight in. You've been on the socials all day today, Paul. I think it's further intensified. We said on the last show, don't care as long as we're not talking about the refs on Monday, but we knew inevitably there would be a number of decisions which appear to favour the Chiefs once again.
Just a one, really. I think just a one.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have said three. At least three. I mean, one of them. I'm still confused as to how they came up with the decision. Yeah, because if that was a catch for Kansas City, why wasn't it a catch initially for the Buffalo Bills and him down by contact straight away? Because the ball was touching the ground.
Yeah, that's
I just don't get that. I don't honestly.
Well, that's the one I mean. I don't think that's a catch. That's the first down by Josh Allen. I think that they actually got that right. It was very close.
I'll argue that I didn't think they got that right. I thought the spot of the ball was terrible.
Yeah, but the catch, it was weird.
Everyone's forgetting about Najee is we talk a lot in 49 land about quarterback play, elite quarterbacks, everything all said and done. Josh Allen got the ball back with 3 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock. Yeah. And I didn't watch the game live. That one I decided to watch back today. And as you said, Gareth, seen the noise on social media. That one about the catch, I think because it's the Chiefs and it's the 5th Super Bowl in 6 years and people are doing the deep dive. And you said before, Najee, you can screenshot anything, you can have a look. And people are thinking there's some big conspiracy. But correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Tom Brady used to get some of these calls? Yeah. Didn't some of the other quarterbacks in the league? And I don't know, Lee. I'm not one for it's rigged. I've seen a few people in our group today say they're done with the sport. It's become like the WWE. They're walking away. And I get people being frustrated, but it's not that serious, I don't think. I sat down last night and I watched football. We've only got one game left. And I don't know. What do you reckon, chaps? Do you reckon it's rigged? Do you reckon we need to just turn in our fan cards and start watching the WWE?
Yeah, I don't think it isn't rigged, but the more you see decisions made like this, the more 50-50 decisions that seem to always go the Chiefs' way, you do start to doubt. Yeah. You do start to think, well, hang on here. This is just ridiculous now. It's getting to the level where you do doubt whether or not it's a legitimate sport anymore.
Yeah, I agree. But also, Bills shouldn't have let any doubt. They should have just smashed them and won the game handedly.
They should have done. Yeah.
Like if you keep it close, it's your fault.
That's kind of what I said in the group. For me, the Chiefs were good value for the win because I thought defensively, it was Spagnuolo that won that game. Yeah. It wasn't Mahomes because I didn't particularly think he set the world alight. I didn't think he looked... I was going to say elite. I mean, he is an elite quarterback. Yeah. But he didn't do anything special.
He's
really.
Clutch. He is clutch. They had a good plan, though. Like they knew they could get those runs on the outside and get the first down when they needed and just sprinkle them when they needed. Like, Andy Reid's a good coach.
See,
they had a good plan executed.
The
No
voice of
mistakes.
reason.
Yeah. No, well, that's what I always say about the referees. And it's crazy, chaps, that we're sat here, $22 billion industry, talking about part-time referees, volunteers, referees that, the human, they're going to make mistakes. Like you said, Nancy, that spot. Yes, we're sat at home and we've got the beauty of the lines on the screen. They don't have that. I mean, the way they spot the ball is two guys with the chains. Someone comes running on, takes the ball. Let's face it, one thing I've started to get frustrated with is when a player does a good play, he just flings the ball away. Put the ball on the spot. Don't kick the ball down there or throw it to a referee over there. So sometimes there's going to be mistakes, but I don't buy into this theory, Lee, personally.
As far as that fourth down is concerned, I mean, you say we've got the benefit of the line. That's completely irrelevant because they had the overhead camera. And the overhead camera, you could see the ball was basically breaking the plane of that yard line, and they moved the ball at least half a yard back from where the ball was. Yeah. Everybody could see that. I mean, even Gene Steratore turned around and said that they'd get that first down by at least three quarters of a length of a football there. He says it wasn't close.
But
so
again,
when you've got an ex-official saying that...
Again, just get a first down. Just get a first down.
Well, they did.
They did.
Well, but not really.
Yeah.
They just pass the line by 3 yards, and then there's no doubt.
Yeah, what you really mean is make sure you get a first down.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you get a yard, 2 yards more than what you actually need for the first down.
But it isn't because each individual on its own, all these decisions are understandable. And you say that's the ebb and flow of the game, and it happens in every game. It's the body of those that seem to be always in the Chiefs' favour.
Yeah,
and I think that's it. It's each individual one on its own in isolation. You can never make a huge case for, but show me a game where the Chiefs have suffered a poor refereeing decision.
There probably is.
Really
we just
mattered.
don't.
No,
there
that's
probably
really mattered.
Is. Well, yeah, but also there probably is. They probably have lost games
they just
in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
that it's the bias, our bias towards how we see those calls is completely slanted too. We have to take a step back and be truthful with ourselves as well. It's not cool, and it's probably there's something not quite right, but it's also the way we see it. If you're a Chiefs fan, everything's fine. So I just don't like talking about it all that much. Yeah, they're dominant, and it almost feels like we're finding kind of excuses. Like the refs didn't win the game yesterday. They played a good game, made no mistake.
Talk about was play calling. So Joe Brady, Josh Allen came into this game, a lot of hype about the MVP, and that play where Josh Allen was running for his life and he flung the ball up and the lad dropped it. Everyone knows Spagnola's dialing the pressure up, and I've seen some great analysts today freeze framing that, and you've got 7 on the line, there's 6 of them coming for him, and the motion of receiver that goes behind him, that similar to Niners, we see Deebo Samuel go in motion and nobody moves. I think the receiver was number 10 for the Bills. He ended up 10 yards behind him. It was 4th and 5. And people are like, you said that you get the first down. You don't need to win it all there and then. And it's little things like that where I think we get a lot of hate off other fan bases because of our love for Brock Purdy and our way we defend our quarterback. And I'm not coming on here to knock Josh Allen or defend the Chiefs when it sounds like our Bills command a Super Bowl more than anybody. But watching that game back today, Najee, I didn't think the referees caused that much of the outcome. Maybe that's what it's called like a day I already knew the result. But the social media, Gareth, has been very toxic today. And Chiefs fans, of course, are enjoying it. As I said to you off air, if it was us, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, we'd be unbearable. I know fine well we would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think the refereeing decisions actually cost the game, but then again, we've said that I think about 2 Super Bowls the Niners have lost recently. We said, well, the referees haven't cost the game, but we talk about decisions that seem to be missed, decisions that didn't go our way in those games that you can point to, and I think that's the momentum and other stuff is important. We will see what happens. I think it is. I don't know whether it's overblown but I've never really seen it like this. I think it's rumbled on the Chiefs get this, that, and the other, but from the amount of people, being called out by the live presenters, Romo and others. It's unusual that they've come out. They are constantly saying these they're not saying this is a bad refereeing decision so much as they're saying, why do the Chiefs always seem to benefit from these bad refereeing decisions? That's the question, because there are bad refereeing decisions in every game, but it always seems to be more towards the Chiefs. Should we talk more about that game? Do you want to talk about refs anymore? It's boring, really.
No, I mean,
don't care.
I think
it's something I thought from that is we haven't worked out the way to beat the Chiefs in the big one. But the Bills haven't worked out a way to beat them either, and neither of the Ravens.
No one has.
There's a reason why they've been to 5 of 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the Bills must be feeling sick, and the Ravens.
Yeah, but again, I'd take the season they're having and where they are than any other team in the AFC. It's hard to win games. It's very hard. What the Chiefs are doing is kind of incredible, really, when you look at it. And
Just think, Spagnuolo, Dallas Cowboys might have been interested in interviewing him for the vacant head coach. I mean, Howie isn't being interviewed by teams.
He doesn't want to.
The last few years we've done this show, we've talked about
he won't
defense.
head coach ever again.
No, I get that, Nadji, but you just think like if he's happy where he is, but that Chiefs defense is.
I was going to say Chiefs. Yeah.
I think that's what he's potentially waiting for.
Well,
or the fact why would you go anywhere else where, like Andy Reid, he's like, he could just stay here and win rings.
Yeah, it's not a bad problem to have, is it? I mean, I've seen the talk of the three-peat. Maybe they all sail off and they retire and the dynasty crumbles. We're not that lucky.
It will eventually. This is
Kelsey,
what.
Yeah,
Kelsey will retire every time, and it will explode at some point, and they won't be good at some point. It won't take that long. This game's brutal. It doesn't take much.
Next year, it's 49ers, baby.
Exactly.
We win in 6 next year.
That's what we like to see.
Got Robert Saleh back.
There we go. I mean,
special teams coordinator, which we will talk about later on.
There used to be a time when I was following soccer, when I was in France, and Lyon won it 7 times in a row. That wasn't fun either. I know, because I wasn't a Lyon fan, but 7 times. That's
funny you should mention that. Our good friend Andy Norton, who's the Lions fan, not sure whether he's going to go out and watch the Super Bowl. He's a Man City fan for his sins, and he was messaging me earlier, Nadji, and he was complaining that it's boring, that the NFL's turned into a farmers league because of the Chiefs' success. And I was like, aren't you a Man City fan? I'm a Man City one, and he was just laughing.
If you follow the Premier League, you cannot complain about this. It's been like this forever.
And if someone put it in the group before, to be
exactly the same.
I've said to you, Lee, I grew up in the era where Manchester United won everything, and the Manchester United fans I grew up with were like the Eagles fans, and they really turned me off football. Like that is the main reason why I don't do English football, because of the way they went on. So I kind of quite like that they've never got that success back. But I think when you look back at that era of sport, teams got the decisions, and I just think that's what's going on with the Chiefs at the moment. They were the plucky underdog going back to 2019 when they went in against Brady and the Patriots. Everybody wanted them to win, and now they've just become that long. I said it before, the October meetup, one of the Chiefs fans was talking to me in the barley, and he was like, I've been following this spot for about 5 years. And it quickly cottoned on. That means he's seen 3 Super Bowl wins in 5 years. I instantly hated him because I've seen 3 losses in 12. But it's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sports. It'll swing and roundabouts. It'll be fun.
It is, and I think Kansas City are going to be. I don't think the coaches are necessarily going to change, but I think every successful team struggles to keep that team together because of the salary cap, and already say who's going to have to be ditched from the Chiefs to get under cap. They're not going to be able to re-sign all their current players, particularly their beefy offensive line, who are top of the market players. So it's fair play to them that they've played that very well, because they completely reinvented their team regularly. It's a very different team than the 2019 team, and I think it's a different team from certainly the one that lost to the Bucks. So they've played that well, and they're well run, they're well organised, they've got a decent GM, they've got a great coach, they've got a great DC, they've got a great quarterback. So you've got all of your stuff there. that shows that there's some recipes for success. Interesting that a lot of the teams we saw at the weekend all seem to have good offensive lines. So I do hope Shanahan is watching that. Bills bit flat. They were. We talk about Shanahan being conservative. Bills didn't come out with a lot of firepower. I think they didn't come out and play the game with a lot of ambition. And I think it was the same with the Ravens, isn't it? They let the Ravens make the mistakes and beat themselves. And you wonder that they go a little bit into their shell, perhaps, as we have in postseason. I think that's true.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to be.
It came down to play calling as far as the Bills were concerned. I just thought Josh Allen looked very, very jittery, very fragile. He looked as though he wasn't coping with the pressure at all. He made some throws early on, which you thought, Jesus, how many interceptions is he going to throw today? As it turns out, he was fine, but he didn't look like his normal self. It looked as though the whole day, the whole situation had actually gotten to him.
It's that belief, isn't it? They didn't seem to come into the game thinking they'd win it.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what winning does to a team, and this is also why the Chiefs have been so successful. They've won so many games, they know exactly how to get there. And no matter what happens during the game, there's always that belief that they can get back onto it and win a game. They're just winners. They just know how to win games. And Josh Allen just hasn't been there yet, and when you don't have the confidence to play kind of loose and knowing that you have the coaches, you have the team, you have the players to back you up into that win, it's a big stage, and I think there's something at the back of his mind as well. Like, early in his career, was he a bust? Was all this kind of plays into it, and I think he didn't want to be like Justin Herbert. He didn't want to be the guy that lost the game for his team. So maybe he made the throw a bit sheepishly and quite not as much confidence as he would. Because during the regular season, you lose a game, right? It's not the end of the year. You can win next week, but when it comes to playoffs, it's just such a different mentality and different way of playing football. Unfortunately, you're only going to get there by them beating the Chiefs at least once, and then they'll get that. Oh, it's possible, and then you get the belief and you get the confidence. But yeah, he's a good QB. Like, they had an amazing season, and he probably is going to win the MVP. So
it's all about delivering in the playoffs. And I think that if this goes on, because I think those questions have been around Lamar Jackson and his poor postseason record, and rightly or wrongly, it's you live or die by your quarterback's play, don't you?
They're also all so young. Like Josh Allen's like 28 and Lamar is like 27. If they play till 40, they've got plenty of time to win 5-6 championships, and it's just
I think what I was saying, Lee, was for Brady, he went away from James Cook. That final drive, Cook didn't touch the ball. And in the regular season game, James Cook had dominated the Chiefs. And I think maybe when you're going against a familiar opponent, maybe you try and be a bit too clever. And Gareth just said they put the ball in the hand of your quarterback. As Niners fans, we're used to Shanahan putting the ball in the hand of his running back. And I just thought that, for me, James Cook should have had more touches on that final drive. And like that one where Allen's flinging it up in the air, it could have been an interception. There's nothing on me where that lad hasn't caught the ball. He's dived for it and he was running for his life. But probably people who are listening are going to turn away now. Credit where credit's due. The Chiefs' defense in that final drive was great. And Spagnuolo deserves a lot of credit. And hopefully we will have our very own version of that this year, chaps. I've got a smile on my face 20 minutes in. Are we going to talk about the coaching? Or are we going to talk about the Commanders?
Not even Commanders.
I teed it up, and you've both mentioned the news. You've broken it. Robert Saleh is back. A surprise for me. I didn't think he was going to come back. I thought he would take a head coaching job and go and work somewhere else. I've said that, but great that he's back. I think, I don't know what more we can say. I hardly think there's going to be anybody upset at seeing Saleh back.
No, but I agree with you. I thought he was taking a head coaching job, and I think that does say a lot about his actual new role. I think it's going to be a lot more than what he used to be in terms of defensive coordinator. He's not just going to be a defensive coordinator, I think. There's been noise that Staley might not stay. Not that it's going to make any difference. I'm still not quite sure what he did last year. So, but it sounds like he's going to be assistant head coach doing the defense, and then Kyle will be doing the offense with Clay Kubiak as the OC. Apparently, that's what the structure is going to be. Yeah, I mean, great news. Energy back on the sideline. Going to be the fist pumping, and we're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff.
Defense needs it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the players need that pickup.
Yeah,
and hopefully it means Greenlaw might hang around. So
yeah, Fred must be ecstatic. I think Dre is going to think twice about signing somewhere else. It's just good news all around. It's amazing. That's what we needed.
So do you know the other job that everybody wanted was the guy with the boombox? We've got to remember now we've got Salah back. We need that guy who pulls him back on the sideline. Do you know the guy who was like following along when he was getting all excited? Because I've gone back into my many GIFs and memes, which I can't wait to get out in the season, Najee. But I mean, Trent Baalke, thank you very much, because it looked like you were going to ruin the 49ers fans' hopes again. So Lee, when Baalke went and then the news broke, you must have been happy with Salah coming back, because I was a bit nervous that if we lost out on him, it was going to be Staley.
So I'm not disappointed that Staley has come back. Salah has come back. I'm not disappointed. But if I'm honest, I would have actually preferred Dennis Allen.
Oh, because I wanted controversial. You think he might go again, and then will be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted someone who was going to come in, who was going to take the DC role and be content with the DC role and not go anywhere in the next 12 to 24 months. Whereas with Salah, that's a very real possibility. This could be basically one of those 1-year rentals.
Yeah.
Why don't you come back to us, do the defensive coordinator job for another 12 months? We'll put you in the shop window again. We'll win that 6th ring for the organisation. And then you can go off and be a head coach again. And then we're back to square one in 12 months' time.
Going to be
unless there is a plan. Unless there is a plan to teach somebody at underlings, and
I think if he was going to be like Spags, he wouldn't have bothered taking the head coaching interviews, would he?
Yeah, true.
He's got that ambition there.
What I wanted to ask you, Lee, is on the shows over the last few weeks, you've been very vocal about Kyle becoming a head coach, maybe stepping away from the offensive play call. And Najee's raised a good point there. It sounds like Salah's just going to be given the defense. Can do with what he wants. Shanahan doesn't have to babysit. I'm looking forward that the undisciplined play we saw this year won't be there, because Salah will be. From what I'm reading, Salah's been given full control of the defense. He's going to have a say in the draft process, the free agents that are coming in. And I think that's good for Kyle, because it shows a good head coach to kind of, right, I'm going to delegate that to you. That's your area of expertise. You were our top choice. And then maybe Shanahan can say, I've got no excuses now because I've got the right guy in position, and then we're going to put the key pieces around him. So I wanted your opinions on that, Lee, because you were very vocal and Shanahan doing a bit more as a head coach, where this sounds like he's kind of going to go like that with the defense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so again, I mean, I think Shanahan has started to show progression again. He's obviously seen where the limitations are in himself as a head coach. He knows that the structure he has around him, or he's had around him the past couple of seasons, isn't quite right to win the Super Bowl. So I think he's shown progression there. I think he made a good point. I think it's a key point about Salah's new role as a DC. So I think he will basically have carte blanche over whatever happens with that defense, game day, training, all that sort of thing, but also with personnel. I think he's going to have a huge say in what that personnel looks like going into the new season. And I think that's the key point.
I think even more than that, I think even the coaching, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, the next hire, but I think his arrival is going to impact who we have on the staff and who's quality control and assistance and all that kind of stuff. So I think he's going to have a much, much bigger role, and maybe he'll just be happy to do so, and hopefully, I agree that there is a chance he might go next year, but I think if there is a plan, first of all, we get draft picks again, which would be incredible. But also, because it might be part of the plan and say, hey, you come back to us. You can go whenever you want, but get us somebody that can take after you, that's going to do what you do, or in some fashion.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll see somebody new like Demeco, or some underling that's just going to show up and be as good or maybe even better than he is. So, I mean, I'm just looking forward to our next season. I mean, this is amazing. We're in January, and I can't wait for August, seeing him on the sideline.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
It's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Isn't it a coincidence that Nagy stepped away from the show last week, and now we've had two of the most important coaching hires? I mean, just putting two and two together there, Nagy. Well done, buddy.
Well, I got a call saying, you're not coming down. It's like, well, there's no
We've lost your sound, Nagy.
Am I gone? Am I gone? Am I back? Am I here?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You're back.
Oh, okay.
Back in the room.
Yeah. You're in and out.
Oh, okay. This happening again. I don't know what I was saying now. Never mind. Move on.
We'll move on from Salah. A couple of points. The one on Lee, you said why would he go to head coaching jobs if he's not interested in it? I think there's a courtesy there that it might be seen as rude because at some point that head coaching vacancy might come up and it might be in a much better position. So I can think that there is some value. It's a small group, isn't it? The owners, 32 owners, 32 GMs, 32 head coaches. I think there's a courtesy, I think, in going to listen to what people say and attending and being interviewed. So I think that doesn't necessarily mean you're interested in the job, but you are, you're interested in speaking to other people and honing your interview skills, as you well know, Lee. So there was another point on that. There was another point on that, but it's escaped me now. Oh, personnel. You talked about coaching personnel. I thought you meant player personnel because I think Greenlaw.
No, I was talking about player personnel.
I thought Greenlaw we must have drafted Greenlaw when Salah was DC because I was thinking who might stay, whereas Hufanga wasn't his pick. He must have come after Salah. But I thought Greenlaw might have been. So you never know if Greenlaw was a Salah pick. Hopefully, some of these things might go in our favour. But maybe for someone like Huff, you might not have necessarily that connection to want to stay as much.
I mean, when I shared the news that it was coming back, the New York Jets UK branch reached out and was saying, he's a better DC than he was head coach. But look at some of the defensive players that they drafted when he was there. I mean, Sauce Gardner, not a bad pick. He tweeted out some good news about Salah being there. Now, I know we can't get him just yet, Nagy, but you look at the defensive side of the ball in New York, that wasn't the issue.
The problem.
It was the de facto GM, whose name we're not going to mention because that's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. But there was a lot of talk a couple of weeks ago about were we moving away from the wide nine? Would we go down a different path? But I think all Niners fans are just excited that we said this time last year we needed the defense to be top 10, top 5 would be amazing. Look at where we finished this season. If we can get a top 5 defense, the sky's the limit, in my opinion. And like you said, Nagy, it's still January, and we're all excited for the new season.
Yeah.
And I think Salah's mark on the Jets, I think he has progressed as a DC. I think the one knock against him when he played for us is that we didn't seem to generate the turnovers. We played very much a containment defense that stifled and made it difficult for the opponent, but we didn't go and hunt down the ball. And I think you've seen a bit more of that perhaps with the Jets. So I'm hoping it's Salah Mark II is going to be an upgrade. Special teams coach. We've employed someone. Go on, Nagy. Have I?
No, I was going to say it
jumped
was
ahead. Unless you know everything.
It was a personnel thing. Like I just think when you have Sauce and players that they have on the Jets, you can go for playmaking type of defense. When the defense he took over, let's remember the first 3 or 4 months we were terrible, and that's the year we started drafting Bosa and we had Armstead and all those guys, and there was an idea behind it.
Jimmy Ward.
I was going to say maybe Salah's put his foot down and said first signing Jimmy Ward. We're having him back.
God. No, please no.
Oh God.
Please God no.
Special teams coach.
Mustafa
who knows anything about this guy?
Anyway. No, there is some good stats. Yeah, good
Brand Boyer.
Brand Boyer. There is some
former
stats.
NFL player, The Miami Dolphins drafted him the 6th round in 1994. He played linebacker and was special teams expert for 11 seasons in the NFL. With the Colts, he played alongside Pat McAfee. So,
that's good. That's good to know, actually. Apologies for the cows outside.
Stats on the screen.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about. If we can open this.
This is for people listening. We've got some stats on the screen that Najee's trying to get down.
There we go. Should be able to zoom in.
Are those the Jets stats or ours?
They are Jets special
These
teams
are the
DVOA.
Jets when he was on the Jets. Oh, hang on. Let me share.
Second, fourth, second, fifth.
Yeah, and then 29th this year, and it looks like they had 5 different kickers. Oh, God. Not mentioning kickers in special teams. Not on a Niners show.
Let me share this one instead so people can actually see it. So if you want to share my screen. Yeah, so it seems like he's good, according to the DVOA. There we go. DVOA stats that he's been. So in 2019, they were second, and then fourth, second again, 2021, 2022, fifth in 2023. 29th this year, but apparently they've been through 5 different kickers, which would tank your DVOA. But they were still very, very good in the return, in both return punt and kick return this year. If it wasn't for the 5th kicker, they probably would have been top 10 or something, I would imagine. So he's clearly a very good coach, and he has a philosophy and he has an idea. And I'm guessing Saleh brought him over since he's coming from the Jets. It's good. I mean, like, it can't really be worse, can it? Even if we finish 30th or 31st.
I really wish you hadn't said that, Najee. Honestly, I really wish you hadn't said that. So somebody posted in this group to say it can't get any worse. It has to be an improvement. And I posted to say, well, hopefully it can't get any worse. But then I stopped myself from saying it because I'd probably jinx it, because we were ranked 32nd. But doesn't mean that we can't get any worse.
Even
we could
more
be
32nd.
Well, we'd still be around 32nd.
It's just that we'll still be ranked 32, but we can get even worse.
Yeah.
We could get worse, that's true, but it'd be very difficult.
Those are good numbers. They're reassuring that it's the right guy, and I think what I like is it sounds like he is a special teams specialist. He's not a guy who's seeing special teams as his route to getting the next job up in offense or defense, because I think it does. It's called special for a reason. It needs special attention, and it needs somebody, I think, to be all in on what they're doing rather than kind of hoping that it might lead to an offensive or a defensive position. But it sounds like he's special teams. Sounds like that's what he did as a player. So that's his area of expertise at the moment. You know, coaches can have a long career coaching. So,
I mean, he played 11 seasons in the NFL.
Yeah, I was just about to say for the last 8 seasons. Last 8 or 9 seasons, he's been a special teams coordinator, and before that, he was an assistant special teams coordinator. So that is all he's done.
Yeah. And when he was the assistant, McAfee and Vinatieri both earned All-Pro honors. So I know we're gushing over this guy, but I think a knock on special teams last year was we just put one of Shanahan's mates in from the click, where this year we've got, as you've all said, a dedicated expert, because special teams does matter. And we'll have the where-nots about kickers and holders in the off-season. But let's just enjoy that, as you said, Najee, before the Super Bowl, we've got our coaching hires in place. All is looking good. Who would have thought it?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a good sign. Speaking of Super Bowls, there was another game. Washington visiting the Eagles. This was the early games. I don't know if you guys managed to watch this.
Yeah, I watched them both all the way through. Unfortunately,
kind of got away from Washington, but it was a shame. They kept it close for a long period, but I think the Eagles unfortunately just put the foot on the gas, and that experience I think showed through, and they were good value for the win, and were even kind of good value for the scoreline.
Yeah,
true.
Can't argue with that. Defensively, they looked absolutely solid, which is why I think the Super Bowl is going to be a good game. It's going to be interesting to see who wins out. Because
it's going to be 6-3, isn't it?
It will be.
I really hope not.
But that
What was it?
Patriots
The
Rams one, when was that?
Patriots Ram 9-3 or
2018,
something like that.
Yeah, 2018, I think.
Worst game ever. Yeah.
I mean, we could be looking at a repeat of the type of game that we had with the Chiefs and Eagles a couple of years back.
Mm.
What, with a dodgy call in the last second to give the Chiefs the win?
The softest DPI you will ever see.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah, those.
No, we talk on this show, Gareth, about the turnover battle. And as I think we all wanted Daniels to do well in Washington, but he turned the ball over 4 times in the championship game. And, you know, I said to you, chaps, I watched it all the way up until the last touchdown. I just thought, my score prediction's out the window. Yeah. I thought the Eagles were going to win, but I think I went for like a 28-18. I think my score was done before half-time, to be honest, chaps. But I weirdly enjoyed the game.
Lucky. My scoreline was done after 18 seconds.
Well, you and Kev do have the logins, but enough said about that. We'll get into that at the right part of the show. You know, the bit of controversy I found out today. But I quite enjoyed the game. I did feel sorry for Washington, Gareth. I mean, it just goes to show this time last year, nobody would have expected a turnaround. And that's why we love the NFL. Adam Peters came in, the old ownership went, they drafted a young quarterback, they put the right pieces around him. Scary Terry is one of my favourite players in fantasy football. Who would have thought Austin Eckler would have been a name to talk about in a championship game in 2025. But I think Lee said it at the start, the Eagles' defence is looking quite scary. And I think Jalen Hurts is playing within his capabilities. And I'll say it again, New York Giant fans who listen to this show, what were you doing when Barkley caught them?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, he has been the difference. And again, they've reinvented, and they're having a go with a different model. So it won't be the same game as the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Because obviously Barkley's
I'd love to see him get the MVP. Najee's talked about in Discord. He had 2 touches last night for the first opening 2 touchdowns, and he's transformed that Eagles offense. And I know we wanted CMC to get it, but for me,
to me it's
I know it's a quarterback-driven league, but Barkley has been amazing this year, and he was great last night.
Yeah, it has. And again, I think it shows what knowing how to win does to a team. Like Washington just didn't really need to do everything they tried to do. They were in it, and then they just kind of throw it away. I didn't think the Eagles were particularly brilliant. They were just, everything they did it really well and made no mistakes. And that's what good coaching and good teams do, especially on a big game when you're at home. You know, a couple of things are going to come your way. You just have to wait for them. I think Washington will learn a lot about that game, although Dan Quinn's been there before, so I'm not. We'll see. We'll see what the infamous Falcons, Patriots.
His team will.
Yeah, I think his team will.
It kind of makes you wish that the Commanders had imploded last week against the Lions. So the Lions up against the Eagles.
But I think the Lions are very much the same blueprint as the Commanders, just kind of a couple of years ahead of the Commanders. And they're still very young, and they still don't really know how to win big games. They showed it against us. They showed it this year again.
Yeah,
it's difficult winning playoff games. It's really, really hard. Those teams are extremely good. The Eagles, as much as we hate them, I think the Eagles have had an amazing season, and they looked awful last year when we beat them.
That back end, yeah,
they looked
terrible. You say it's awful. You say it's awful. I mean, one of the parents at the Kids Flag Football, the mum, she's an Eagles fan. Lovely lady. She's obviously over the moon. Spectre, who came on the show with us, Lee. Eagles fans. I see a lot of Eagles stuff.
They're not all bad.
Gary Thorpe, friend who runs the NFL Mugs site on Twitter. He went out to the game last week. He's a big Eagles fan. But Najee, you're right. Time of possession. Washington had the ball for 29 minutes, 29 seconds. The Eagles had it for 30 minutes and 31 seconds. When you look at the stats, it's those turnovers. Even the penalties, there wasn't much in it with penalties. I mean, I did kind of cringe. AJ Brown got away with another one, like he did against us, where I thought, was it a catch? Was it not?
Smith,
but that was splitting hairs because, again, the referees didn't cause Washington. Smith, sorry, but it just reminded me of our game against them. But like you said, Najee, the Eagles, credit where credit's due this year.
They did call a flag on Frankie Louvu.
That's so funny.
That was my favourite play of the year.
I enjoyed that as well. I think obviously the tush push has taken on, and people are trying something to do it. Fair enough, he mistimed it, but
in all seriousness,
why not?
This is the way to stop it.
Other things aren't working.
Obviously, when it's on the goal line, you can't really keep doing it because the refs are going to award a score. And yes, that is a thing that is possible for people that don't follow the sport for a long time. I don't think it's happened in a very, very long time, but it is something the refs can do. Just like they can do in basketball, they can give the basket, award the basket if something happens. But I think if you want to stop the tush push, the next time they try and do it at midfield, just keep jumping. Just keep jumping offside. Because they can't award the score if you're at the 50. That's impossible. Just keep jumping offside, and it'll be a farce, and the NFL will have to do something about that play. That is the way to stop it, if you want to stop it. I've said it. If people are actually listening to this podcast, Kyle, you know what to do. Just keep jumping offside. I mean, it will give them
gold,
it'll give them first down, but just keep jumping offside.
It just reminded me, Nadji, when you've got a small child, you tell them to stand still, or you tell them not to do something, and you just get
going to do it.
Over the line. And we were in Discord, and we were like, I'd keep doing it. The game was lost by that point, like you said. Though Kansas City Chiefs finds out about that little-known rule. God help us all. Now, I'm joking, everybody, but I did share a picture of Patrick Mahomes going, interesting, the referees can award me a touchdown.
It's a nice plan, Nadji, but obviously, if it's not at the goal line, you just convert their fourth down for
No,
them.
I know, but it would still make it a farce. It would still make it a farce, and I think the NFL will have to do something about it.
I just think it's until one of the big quarterbacks gets injured on that play, it's there to stay. True. And I don't see any reason to stop it because one team does it, every team is going to start doing it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. Please don't injure Brock by doing that.
It's just the way it evolves.
I think they should turn around and make this a player safety issue, and that's how they'll do it.
Yeah,
and I can see it happening as well.
Take your quarterback out and snap your ball to your defensive lineman and have him rumble through.
You can't differentiate between a quarterback and anybody else that's on the field.
No.
A player safety issue is a player safety issue.
Well, they do though. There's player safety,
I know they do.
And then there's quarterback player safety.
Yeah. Which is obvious because of the way that quarterbacks are protected nowadays.
This sounds like an off-season rabbit hole we can go down into after the league meeting, and we see what rule tweaks are going to be put forward.
To be fair, though, Gareth, reading it there while Lee was talking, what was funny why the refs got irritated, they jumped offside 4 times in 5 plays, but the referees told them to back it in. And apparently it's been around since 1942, this rule, Nadji, but it's never been enforced.
So
I wonder if that's going to be a bold prediction ahead of next year that we're going to be talking about this rule. But,
so did any of you notice that on that series of plays where they kept on jumping offside and they kept on like half the distance to the goal line, on one of the downs they actually moved the ball further back?
Didn't notice that.
Yeah. I mean, we are literally talking maybe 1-2 inches maximum, but if you watch it carefully, the ball is actually further back than what it was the previous play.
It's hard to do.
I mean, you've talked about player safety there before we move off. I know Sherman's talked about it being unfair that offensive players get this advantage and defensive players are not allowed to do that. But I must admit, as a neutral, it did make me chuckle. And I said to you, Nadji, the memes I've seen today are going to live long in their memory. And I know Kev Williams and Chris Wood will be working on getting them available in Discord for the foreseeable, of him just leaping over. Like, it's an impressive play, like. The athleticism, the jump over. The second time he hit, I think, was it the centre? You just kind of looked at him as if to say, have you done that again? But didn't Fred try it? But Fred managed to a roll over when he grabbed him. I thought we were the first people.
I mean, it's the old Polamalu play, isn't it? Which is incredible.
I think the Eagles have got some injuries along the offensive line, something to look for there, because I think that really is a strength. I think there was one play that struck him. The game was won towards the end. Who was it? Defensive lineman. I mean, he jumped offside and he just jammed his hands into the centre's face, through his face mask. Do you see that?
Yeah, was that Jalen Graham?
Jalen Graham, and it was just like.
Yeah, it's just like two fingers straight through his face mask.
Yeah, it looked more like that was deliberate. Kind of what he intended to do. I don't know.
That's exactly what I thought.
I thought just dirty. It's an unnatural. It's not just the guy I rushed him and the guy stands up and I happen to catch him in the face. He kind of
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're going to go and push an offensive lineman backwards, your hands are going up like that, palm first. They're not going up with the fingers to go straight through your face mask. And that's exactly what I thought straight away. He did that on purpose.
I think there was a couple of dirty plays towards the end there.
Yeah.
One thing I did pick up on, Owen Burks.
Dirty Eagles.
Bad that we let him go. He's been playing really well.
So, funny enough, I'm glad you said that.
Are you?
Completely random stats, right? So I was looking into Brant Boyer and I was trying to find out something about special teams rankings, and it brought up a list
dedication.
Of
well done, Lee.
The top 100 special team players from 2024. How many 49ers do you think was in that top 100?
From last season?
Given where you're going somewhere with this, because if we said none.
I'm going to say like 1 or 2. 1.
Zero. Not a single player in the top 100 from the 49ers. How many ex-49er players do you think was in the top 100?
96.
That's what I meant.
20.
Paul would have been right if he went 5 this time.
No
so there was
table
5
pepper.
ex.
That's
no
a crime. No,
but Oren Burks was there. Now, where we did come out top of the list, believe it or not, was fumble recoveries on special teams. And we came out top.
Yeah, fair.
But we were dead last in everything else.
Yeah. Sounds like a freakish stat. Anyway, anything more on Washington's Eagles? Not really. No. Anyway, the real competition is still alive and well with only one game to go. Here we are, teed up. The Score Predictions League. Good to see the engagement. Thanks again to Kev. Where is Kev in the table? Oh, there he is.
Uh-oh.
He's near the top. Oh, he is the top. What a surprise.
He's the
Thanks
very top.
For sorting out anyway, Kev. I'm sure it is all legitimate. And look, who's that in fourth?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
As I said,
I'm going to have to... You say it's all legitimate, but he did say he was going to go for a Commander's win and the Bears win. So we'll have to explain how
I think Kev is very
points.
Illegitimate at the moment. At least that's what a lot of people are thinking.
He scored 0 points, but he did score 0 points this weekend. But some people might have lost points because I don't know whether there's a fact checker out there, Najee. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
The news I found out this afternoon, which really shocked me, that Kev had the same access to the spreadsheet that Lee had for our very own one. So maybe, Najee, there needs to be a look at both. But Gareth, don't you worry. I'm second in our little table. You have 36 points. I have 24. Najee has 21. And hang on, I'm just scrolling down on my bit of paper. Gowland has 17.
Keep on going down and down and down.
There we are, 17.
I mean, I was quite lucky because I didn't actually get my my predictions in until after the Washington-Philly game had started. And I just happened to notice in Discord a conversation thread. I thought, oh, God, I've missed it. Fair enough, I've got no points. But Kev Williams said, why don't you get it in? Because the score's still 0-0. So I put my prediction in. I think Washington got a field goal as I was putting my predictions in. And then the very next play, the very first play for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley ran it like 67 yards for a touchdown. Yeah. So it lasted 18 seconds.
Nice.
So I got
still very dubious
on
the whole process, though. But
it has added a little bit of banter. But Gareth, we said last week, credit where credit due, buddy. It's yours to throw away at this point between yours and Forsum, and Kev is in your sights.
It is. Well, I was thinking we talked about this in the season and never did it. I think we should do a double points game for the Super Bowl to keep it interesting, because if you get it right, you could come from nowhere.
But then that would spoil a little bit of the.
Why would it spoil it? It's still the same points for the same things.
So double points, so maximum of 30 points available.
30 points at all. It's more than I have now.
So you can go all the way down to whoever's got 14 and they've still got a chance to win it.
That's pretty much everyone.
I don't think that's quite right.
Was that Gareth Ellis talking there, or Lee Gowland clutching at straws? I'm just a little bit. No. Come on, Gareth, changing the goal force.
I'd be happy to go for the double points, but there we go. Maybe I'll be outvoted.
Just have a word with Kev. Whatever points you need, Gareth, I'm sure he'll sign it out. As Lee's just admitted there, the games had started. I'm joking, Kev. I'm joking.
I should think, actually, where I am, I could could sneak that if I can be bothered to think too much about the Super Bowl, which I've got to say, once again, I can't. I had this at Chiefs Eagles last time, and it's just my interest as a neutral is very, very low indeed.
The dirty point ball, this isn't it? Because whichever one you go for, dirty points.
Yeah.
Do you know, we just talked about that rule from 1942. I think we need our own rule now. Do you know, like the Tuck rule? But for the score predictions and making sure it's all fair, maybe we call it the Kev Williams rule. So then he goes down in infamy. So we know that there's no cheating going on. But all jokes aside, I think it'll add an extra bit of banter. I would like to see one of the Awesome Foursome win this one, because the podcast fans have been very loud and proud that Anthony absolutely wiped the floor with all
really
of us.
did, yeah.
So it would be nice to kind of get a win there. So I'm rooting for you, Gareth, for you to win it.
It's still all to play for at the top there. So we'll have a think then, but we will let everybody know. I think we should do something different for Super Bowl. Well,
rather than double the scores for like the score prediction, why don't we have an MVP?
That's what
side MVP.
I was just thinking. It's another sheet for Kev to have to set up, but I'm sure that's not hugely different. But yeah, I thought that might be a good choice. MVP award.
Well, 5 points if you guess the right MVP.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So you could score 20, which is...
So you could get a little bit more. It keeps it interesting, doesn't it? Don't want people...
Pretty good. That's
there's got to be some interest for us in this stinker of a game.
Actually, I actually think that's a really good idea to do all season. We could try and guess the MVP, when we did the Niners prediction.
But then, people would be manipulating that to their own choice, wouldn't they?
No, but there is a man of the match, right? There is some kind of award that's given every game. And it'll have to be
where do you find that information out?
Yeah. Not an official.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a Niners
basically a team
man
thing.
of the match kind of thing?
The only thing that's official, I think, is the what are they? The FedEx Air and Ground Players of the Week.
Yeah, I guess. I thought it was.
I know the game ball at the end, don't they? So the head coach gives a speech and they give a game ball out.
But not always. They don't always give game balls out. So
that's true.
Maybe
that is true.
We'll have to do some investigations. Well, I think that we haven't got anything more to talk about, have we? Awards will be the next show. We'll be doing some voting on that. Once again, we're going to lean into and abuse Kev, who has offered to help us do the voting for the awards on a similar style with the G sheets to the Prediction League. So I think that will be quite good, because we always have struggled to have the Facebook poll and the Twitter poll and kind of work everything out. It's not that complex, but it's complex enough. And so maybe we'll just do it through the G sheets. So that will be the next show.
I think the advantage of the G sheets as well, Gareth, Kev was saying that he'll do it where you can't see who's already winning. Yeah. So it'll be a true reflection, because I think sometimes when it's a poll in the Facebook group, if somebody sees someone's miles ahead, they just think, I'll vote for that anyway. But we did say in this period between the season finishing and the off-season, we'd kind of keep you updated. But I think this week we're going to do the pod. I don't think there's any need for a breaking news live show this week, because we've hired the coordinators. I mean, unless something massively happens in part, maybe, Brock signs his contract or whatever. But as it stands, I think that'll be it for this week. So keep on those notifications. We will be back next week with... Can you say the name, Gareth? Because as Lee said, I'm not allowed to say it because all unholy things happen if I try and say the name of the award show.
The four Foucaults.
That's the way to say it.
That's very posh.
The Foucaults, yes.
The Foucaults. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm. So we need to get our thinking caps on. That's another reason we're doing it next week.
So just to tell people to get prepared, the way we do it is we will pick the nominees and you guys will choose who the awards go to. And the categories are, if I'm not mistaken, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year,
also correct.
Rookie of the Year, Unsung Hero of the Year,
correct,
and MVP.
I think we were going to ditch the overall MVP. I think people struggle to pick an overall MVP and an offensive and a defensive. Seems a bit odd.
The overall MVP is that easy. That's me for winning the Predictor League.
Oh, God.
on the podcast.
I thought you were the unsung hero. You can't have both.
He's going to be both and Rookie of the Year and
Rookie of the Year. Definitely not Rookie of the Year.
There will be those awards.
Those awards,
fairly small. We've ballooned the awards in a couple of years, and that got to be hard work. But I think this year, we'll keep it down.
And then we do favorite player of the year, but that's kind of a personal choice, and we all kind of talk about favorite play, and we decide. Yeah, and that's more good. Like a flavor thing. Yeah. There you go.
That's good fun. All right, let's wrap this up. But I am going to put you on the spot. Who do you want to see win the Super Bowl? Want? I don't know. It's too strong. I don't want to see the Eagles win, and the reason for that is we said the Ravens haven't worked out how to beat the Chiefs, the Bills haven't worked out how to beat the Chiefs, we haven't. I don't want to see the Eagles go and do it where we've all failed. To me, it will make it feel worse, our losses. If the Chiefs beat the Eagles twice, 2 Super Bowls in a few years apart, as they've did with us, it's somewhat comforting. If the Eagles go and win it, we'll look worse. And that's it. It's selfish.
I agree. The Chiefs are just the one villain, and we can just all agree we hate, and just let them keep on winning. It's fine, and then we don't have to divert our hate to somebody else. I mean, we don't like the Eagles, but not quite. Just let them win.
I can't particularly bring myself to want the Chiefs to do a three-peat.
No, I mean that's,
and I find it hard to want the Eagles to win as well. So I'm kind of stuck in limbo here a little bit, because I actually do think the Chiefs are going to win in this. I don't think the Eagles will. I think Spagnuolo is far too good for the Eagles offense. I think he's going to dial up some interesting schemes that will just basically nullify.
If they stop Barkley, they haven't got a lot of firepower.
Yeah, exactly. So I unfortunately think they are going to three-peat. Who do I want to win? Wow. I mean, that's like a would you rather.
Yeah.
Where there's no good answer.
Terrible one.
The right answer is CMC's answer.
I was about to say, don't steal my thunder. I hope both teams lose. That's what I'm sticking to.
You know what? I just hope we win. We win as spectators. I hope it's a game for the ages, and then I don't care who wins. I just want an entertaining game. I want a clean game from the officials. I don't want any dirty officials in there. And I just want an enjoyable night, to be honest.
Yeah.
Got any plans for it lately? Going anywhere for Eagles?
Yeah, I might head down south.
So to give you the heads up, I was talking to Brad Simcox from the Chiefs UK group today, and they're heading to Liverpool. They just haven't sorted a venue out yet. So
I thought we're going to Newcastle.
No, I was talking to him today, and he said it's looking like Liverpool. So you might see a lot of Chiefs fans.
You do realise that I ruled out Louis' Liquor Store because you told me that's where the Chiefs fans were going.
To be fair, it looks like Louis is sold out because they have a Super Bowl bash every year. But when I was chatting to Brad earlier,
almost sold out. Yeah, there was only a few tables left.
And I think they went to Liverpool last time, so I think they're trying to kind of what we would do, stick to, But I just thought I'd give you the heads up that there's going to be a lot of Chiefs fans possibly heading your way.
Great. Well, in that case, I've got a public service announcement for everybody heading to Liverpool for the Super Bowl. As you're aware, we've been posting some little merch items that you can buy yourself and adorn to a piece of sporting equipment. That piece of sporting equipment is a dart. Please bring darts with you down to the Super Bowl meetup because they may be needed by the final whistle.
He's joking, people. Brett Sinclair's not listening to this, is he, Lee?
Probably.
I think we should stop now.
Yes, good idea.
I agree, Gareth.
Just stop. Thank you, gents. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for working our way through the quagmire of those two games. There's no other PSAs. You were making gestures, but no. There we go. That's good. So thanks for joining me, and thanks to everyone who listens and watches the show. Not long now, this season, we can finally put us behind us. There's only one game left of the however many hundreds of games it is in the NFL. So one more to go, and then we can truly start looking forward to next season. New coaches, draft picks. It's going to be an exciting time, and lots for us to talk about. And no referee conversations over the off season as well, because they disappear. They go back into their cloning lab underneath Roger Goodall's garage. So hopefully you got to enjoy the games. Bit of a gap this week. Obviously no games next weekend before the Super Bowl, but we will be having the awards good show that we always look forward to, I think, and probably a bit of a longer show to keep you company on the long wait for the Super Bowl or the long travel. Thanks, lads. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Nana gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99.